Good morning. This is Adrian, and good morning. This is Adrian, and I'm talking to you from. And hope you're hearing me. I'm not sure if I'm being heard. Today, I'd like to talk to you about disabilities and my perspective on what they are. And I'm currently disabled, which means I have a Alzheimer's, attention deficit, depression, uh, cholesterol, high high blood pressure. I have arthritis in both my legs and my back. I have a curvature. I have scoliosis 10%, and on and on. COPD. I wear hearing aids and 50% deaf. Uh, in the United States, at this time, this is, a, this is a guess, it's an approximation. There are approximately 43 million people who are disabled, and that number, of course, is increasing. This ability may be visible to the outside to the public when we go outside into the public arena, and in the neighborhood that I live in, which is Skid Row, Los Angeles, Fifth and San Pedro to be exact. uh, there are so many people here that have been dumped, literally dumped here, and they are all walkers or wheelchairs, scooters. They're on many different kinds of vehicles. Some are limping, some don't have shoes, some don't have socks, uh, some don't have clothes. Okay, um, the the thing about disabilities is people do not believe you have them. Uh, Many times, I have 50. I'm 50% off. I wear hearing aids, and when I speak to the people, like in my building where I live, and I tell them that I do not hear them, what they do is they stand exactly where they are. And I said, if you move closer, I might be able to hear what you're trying to tell me. Uh, I don't know what they're thinking. My guess is that they think you know, I have a disease of some sort. I'm contagious. And I try to explain to them that I am not contagious. I may be sick. I may be taking 20 different medications. Uh, but I have my ability, my sensibility is that I can live a fuller life if I can uh, be more of an advocate and an educator to the public out there. Uh, I started this video, this communication, this education between me and you because I wanted to let the public know that there is another alternate reality here. This is not going to be about me making money. It is not about me being a sponsor for any particular product, although that may happen down the line because I'm broke. Uh, this is about understanding the other side of America, the America that we have we live in, but we are basically invisible. We are invisible to the police who never come here unless they want to kill us. There was a gentleman who was killed 1 block away. Last week, someone um, was taken away by the police on a warrant on the second floor uh, for murder. Gentleman down the hall, two doors down, he died of AIDS. Okay, and they cleaned the room, and some new person came in. Many of the people in my building are from the prison system. Many of the people in my building have substance abuse disorders, I guess you'd call, co-occurring disorders, with mental illness. A great many of them do not take medication, or they're probably misdiagnosed. I was personally misdiagnosed about 20 different times. And what do I mean by that? I mean, I go to a psychiatrist and he tells me this is what we believe is your problem. After an hour of talking to me, they think they understand who I am as a person. Okay. A lot of people believe that people with disabilities cannot contribute to this society, but we can, with certain modifications, of course, physical modifications. But probably what is stopping us the most is the shame and stigma that is placed upon people who are different than the normies, you know, the normies, whoever they are. We need to become more of an advocate ourselves as disabled individuals, and we need to educate the public that we are just like them in a lot of ways, and we're different in some of the other ways. A great deal of the population, my personal belief, in the prison system has a disease called poverty. Poverty is the greatest disease. I know I'm experiencing it now, and I've experienced it all my life. I'm 72 years old. I moved to the United States in 1958 after waiting for 10 years while I was being processed through the political system of the United States. I was supposed to put on a list for 10 years, so it took me 10 years just to get in the door. The system is set up for the rich. That is my personal perspective, and that is how I look at it because I'm at the bottom of the ladder. I have a limited income, Social Security. This month, I'll probably get evicted because I don't have enough money in my checking account. My credit union will not give me a loan. My credit union will not give me a credit card. And I try to explain to them that I could consolidate my loans to them. And this way they would make money. Instead, they prefer to, you know, bill me every time my check bounces $30. So at the end of the month, I'm about $250 in the hole because of their banking laws. I didn't pass the banking laws. Someone out there passed the banking laws. Mr. Microsoft comes from a banking family. Mr. Microsoft has Alzheimer's, according to him, lately. He may understand more of what we're going through as a disabled population because the disabled population will grow and grow and grow until medicine catches up with some of the things that we need, which is better diagnosis on the psychiatric, better diagnosis on the medical, more compassion from the medical community who doesn't live on Skid Row, by the way. The police don't live here. The social workers don't live here. The nurses don't live here. The dentists don't live here. Whoever services us, the non for profits, they don't live here. The police do not walk the streets. They drive through. They come in, they pass their warrant, put the person in handcuffs, take them away. But the situation remains. We have needles on the street, we have rats. I had rats eating inside of my car, living inside of my car when I had a car, eating the cables for my car, so I couldn't drive it twice. I would go to my car in the morning, this is a couple of years ago, and I would open the door and I'd look down and there would be needles stuck to the tires. There'd be rats running away. When it rains, they all come out. So the city of Los Angeles put these little fences on the sewers. Well, the rats are smart enough, they've been around here longer than you or I, so they choose other holes to come out. And when it rains, the water rises in the sewers and they all come out. A couple of the police officers had flesh eating bacteria. One of the heads of the missions, right down the block, half a block from here, he also had that. And he had to cut some, amputate some of his areas, his legs, I believe. I currently had my toe cut off because of the conditions in my room. I no longer have in-home health care worker. She quit, and she was wonderful, the last one, and she found a better job, but left me standing here. Uh, my bathroom is filled with diapers, about 6 or 7 bags. I can't really lift them too well to throw them out. I don't have anyone to help me in that area. I keep telling my doctor that there should be a hospital built here. And she says, we don't need a hospital here. We have many hospitals there and there and there and there. The problem is, a great many of the individuals here who have co occurring disorders, let's call it psychology, mental, and substance abuse, have also had head trauma, which has caused them to have all kinds of other problems because they never are medicated for it, because they're never diagnosed, because they never have had MRIs or PET scans, and on and on and on. So, what we have here is a zombie population which is not being helped, which is not being serviced. Instead of building a hospital here, our stakeholders, the underserved homeless, go to a clinic. When the clinic started 2 years ago, there were like 40 people. Now there's thousands. Well, when the clinic gets so filled up, they have another clinic. And when that clinic gets filled up, they have another clinic. So you sort of get the picture. They're not helping us. If we had a hospital here, we could get a comprehensive evaluation of the individuals here. But that would cost money. And the money is there. The money is in a political system which does not want to help us. But they claim that they have a 10-year mission to eliminate the homeless. Unfortunately, the homeless have existed since our cave days. Excuse me. And we are still here. Homelessness is a international, national problem, and it's growing because of the social services that are being denied to them, the medical services, and the psychological services. Psychiatric diagnosis is not perfect. From my personal experience, I've had like 10 different psychiatrists, each one, even though they were highly intelligent, highly trained, highly experienced, some were, they had it all wrong. Each doctor has their own idea of what the correct diagnosis is for the patient that walks in the door and the correct medication that they should provide for them. Now, the drug companies walk in the door also, and they give them freebies and they push Wellbutrin this year. This year they'll push Zoloft. Well, I've been taking Wellbutrin for 20 years. I've been taking Zoloft for approximately four. I've been on Prozac, which was the incorrect medication. When you take a medication and your personality has changes. Okay, then they put me on Ritalin because of my attention deficit. Uh, that didn't work. After 6 months, I went back to another psychiatrist because the first psychiatrist basically missed. They missed it. They missed diagnosing me correctly enough to give me the wrong medication. I go to another psychiatrist. They put me on Prozac. Okay. 6 months later, I go to another psychiatrist. I hop around because each one of them has their own idea of what my mental illness, their mental illness is. A, by my appearance as I walk into the room, basically. There's no genetic testing, there's no PET scans, there's no MRIs, there's no SPECT scans. So, what we're doing is we're diagnosing individuals without really knowing what's going on in their brains. Nuclear medicine or the diagnosis from the SPECT and PET and MRIs area is not really being done because it's so expensive. So the doctors just dole out medication. After Prozac, after Adderall, after Ritalin, after Strattera, each time I became a different person, you have to understand. Each time I had different responses to the medication. Right now I'm taking like 20 different medications. They make you dizzy, they give you nausea, they can make you suicidal, they can make bleeding, they can have a bleeding occur in your insides, stomach, intestines. There are many side effects, which are not really what is being discussed when you leave that room. Here, this is your prescription. Go to the pharmacy, and they will fill it for you. And one doctor told me to stop taking Strattera, so I ended up basically taking Wellbutrin. Eventually, one doctor did put me on Zoloft, and Zoloft was an excellent medication. Again, one medication doesn't seem to be doing everything it needs. Of the five major transmitters in the brain, each medication affects different ones. Wellbutrin, Zoloft, and on and on. What I'm trying to describe here is a population that is not being helped, that it is being exploited, that is not being educated to the point of trying to understand. I'm talking about African Americans and Latinos and the whites, trying to understand the value of psychotropic medications. Instead, when they have a problem, because a great many of them are street people that don't come from Harvard, they don't come from Yale, they don't come from USC like a lot of psychiatrists and doctors in my neighborhood, and lawyers, I'm sure, all in all, they don't come from the high end of education. They're street people. They go to the local drug dealer and start using cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine, bota, okay, and on and on and on, and alcohol, of course. It started down here, 7 blocks from me, downtown Los Angeles. First, they had one bar, very successful. The gentleman opened another bar, and on and on and on. After 7 bars, he opened up an eighth bar. It's lucrative for him. It's destroying the clients that come in. They may not know it. Their liver does. Their internals do too. It's great for the tax base for the city. It is not good for our population, which has so many addictions. And, well, we can't even afford to go those, you know, bars. We go to the street guy who may make his own alcohol. Many of the drugs that are illegal, we don't know what we're taking. I walk out the door the other day and someone offers me some African herb. I say, really? I don't know. What are you talking about? Oh, yeah, I have this great herb, and you'll like it. Let me go get some for you. I said, wait a minute, wait a minute. What are you talking about? He wasn't being specific enough, number one. Number two, he was in a hurry to go get it for me. He even have given me a free sample so I could just, get high enough and feel the need for more. This is outside my door. Right next to him, there was a bunch of tents. There still are. My my street is so filled with urine and piss and shit. I see people doing it all the time on the street. Yet the city has only two bathrooms on the corners, one to the bus stop right up here and another one down the block. It is unhealthy to live here. Uh, It's a miracle of my own education, because of my own education, that I have survived. I'm 72. I'll say this again. Average life expectancy in Los Angeles, Skid Row, in the area that I live in, Fifth and San Pedro, is 46. 6 blocks away, where the people who have jobs and have much better health care, have much cleaner environment, much better security, live to be 77 or more. So there's a 30-year difference between the kind of services that we're getting and the kind of services that the people who are richer than us are getting. I could probably talk for another 8 hours, but I'm not sure I could hold your attention. I wish you were here, but you don't want to be here. The police, they don't even walk the neighborhood anymore. But when you speak to them, they say, oh, it's so much better here than it was. They're not saying is that it is not, from my perspective. They don't live here. I do. I look out my window, and, and it's disheartening and depressing that my brothers and sisters are dying. And the United States and all its politicians and all the words that they espouse and say, empty promises. Am I right? We're going to help the homeless. There's a 10-year plan in Los Angeles, yet I don't see our outreach. I do not see people going out there in the street and trying to help us. What kind of a nation are we that leaves its own people behind? America is for whom? Estimated 90,000 here, Los Angeles. Then we have to add San Diego, we have to add under the tunnel here, under the bridge there, under the underpass there, the people in New York, the people in Los Angeles, Chicago, Nashville, the people who work around us, with us, they lock their cars with security guards and fences. They drive out, they go to their homes, and forget about us. Even though they're making a living by servicing us or not serving us, not serving us, they forget about us. We're invisible. Yet, we are so over medicated by the illegal drugs that exist and the police do nothing about that we don't do anything. Empathy, apathy, depression, inebriation. I live in victimhood, Los Angeles. I live on a plantation that has become an urban plantation. I live in an environment that's genocidal. How much for a defense plane? $112 billion? Yet we lost 100 people here. What is the value of 100 people? My question is to you is how many Einsteins are here? There are intelligent people here, and they're being sheltered here, housed here, but that's about it. The services are so lack in depth. The world doesn't want to understand the disabled. I walked out of my clinic a half a block from here. Someone assaulted me. A friend of mine in a wheelchair had coffee thrown at them. A friend of mine walking in the front door, female in her mid 40s, attempting to get sober, living here, attempting to get her daughter back from prison. Eventually moved to Long Beach, where I used to work. Someone punched her for no reason whatsoever. The aggressive behavior that is being displayed against ourselves is not taking into account. LA Times is not interested. The film community is not interested. As I mentioned before, the rich people, the stars, they come in, the do gooders, they come in and then they leave. They give out the pizza, they give out the Thanksgiving dinner, they give out the Christmas dinners, and then they leave. They may donate some money, but that is not enough. The real money is stationary and growing. I shouldn't say stationary, it's being kept by the banks for all the different foundations. You see, each foundation donates 5% of their capital each year. So when you have a foundation like Mr. Microsoft's foundation, $16 billion last time I looked, and he just opened it, and then what does he do? He places his wife in charge of it, keeping the money in the family. His family is from banking. Banking. So you wonder how he made all this money. Well, they're very intelligent people. His foundation only spends 5%. The Ford Foundation spends 5%. The Weinberg Foundation, all these foundations. And there's a book this thick in the library. It's called the Foundation Directory. All these foundations, they spent 5%. Now, I don't know who made the rules, but I don't think they were made by me. The money keeps growing, the capital keeps growing. But the poor people keep dying. Where's the equity in that? Whereas Mother Teresa said of Los Angeles when she came here a few years back, she said, "This is the most unspiritual place I've ever seen. There is no compassion here, there's no love. All these foundations with all that money is being manipulated by the banks to make more money. Yet we have Mrs. Microsoft. She goes on CNN. I was reading this over and over again. She says, "Oh, the rich should help the poor." Yet the foundations were created by the rich in order not to pay taxes on the money they donate into the foundation. And of course, they get their names on the hospitals. They get their names on TV. I'm cleaning up the environment. What they're doing is lying to us. Political lies, business lies, not much difference. If you have 1,300 people speaking for you, lobbying for you in Washington, D.C., like some companies do, won't mention who, you can understand why one prescription that I take for my prostate can cost $383, or how another prescription that I take can cost $400. I don't pay for them, honestly. Medi-Cal, Medicare pays for them, but I didn't get Medi-Cal, Medicare yesterday. It took me a long time to get into the system, to understand the system, and I guess become part of the system. But I'm not happy with that. Not happy with people dying. I'm not happy with the fact that they took all the mailboxes away from us, or the lack of children that I see on the streets here, or the lack of garbage cans, which they took away. Eventually, they brought them back. Now they have them chained to the poles, the light poles, and such. They just made a larger office of the clinic that I go to. But before anything that happened, there was a scaffolding that went up across the street from me, Fifth and San Pedro, and I watched as the microwave towers and the police cameras and all the wiring that they do to scope us, to watch us. Yet when I went to the police station, I said, I would like to look at the cameras. Someone stole my blah 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 from my blah 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 from my from my car. They stole everything inside and they broke the window several times. They said, "Oh, we don't own those cameras." The fact that the police are excellent at lying to you and the public is an example of the kind of reality that America lives in. When was the last time that you saw a program on TV or a person being interviewed like a police person? When was the last time? When was the last time that they were asked, what sensitivity training do you give your police force? They dress well, they have shiny things on them, they have shiny revolvers, and they use them. But that's another story. I'm running out of things to say today, and I wish you well. Again, I'm not here to show you cat videos. That's for someone else. I'm not here to make millions. That's for someone else to do. And then make other videos to show you how to do it. Monetize. There's something wrong with America, but let's not talk about it. Let's not talk about the shame. Let's not talk about sexual abuse. America's dirty little secrets. Tomorrow, perhaps it'll be different. I don't know. I try to do my best to help people. A lot of the people that I have helped in the past are dead. I've done drug counseling, domestic violence counseling. I have a master's degree in psychology. I offer my services freely to anyone in my building, yet they don't understand, nor do they accept my no, my door should they should have been knocking on my door all the time. The last person that came in here for help, she sat in a chair right across from here, and I said, "Well, how can I help?" Blah blah. When was the last time you used? She ran out of the room. She's still alive. She's living next door. She's mentally ill. She's not diagnosed, to my knowledge, nor is she taking any kind of medication, and she's probably still using methamphetamine, heroin, multa, marijuana, Mary Jane. You want me to keep going? We're dying here. I haven't seen any other videos on YouTube dealing with death. Cats, dogs, funny comments, Illuminati, aliens. What kind of people are we? How long will it take to stop burying the people that are around us? I don't know. My future is bleak, and my doctor's diagnoses are wrong, by the way, on many things. They won't listen to me. I'm the expert, but they think they're the experts. Remember, they started as witch doctors, they became barbers, and now they're doctors. When was the last time you saw someone challenge a doctor? They believe in invasive surgeries. I do not, but I've had them, and so life goes on. Ciao. Arrivederci. Perhaps you understand who we are a little bit better. Great love. Bye.